everyone. It's Paola. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with the amazing Crystal Maldonado, and she wrote Fat Chance Charlie Vega. Crystal, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. So thank you for the great intro. So I am Crystal Maldonado, author of Fat Chance Charlie Vega. I'm just repeating you now. So this is my first ever book. This is my debut young adult novel. And the book is about a 16-year-old girl. She is fat and she's Puerto Rican and she's never been kissed. And like the never been kissed part is truly her worst nightmare. So for Charlie, this is like the worst thing ever. And the book is really about her journey to find love, not just, with another person, but also with herself and learn to love herself and be kind to herself and not listen to things that her mom says and to really not stop comparing herself to her best friend. So I feel like there's a little something for everyone, hopefully, in this book.
I think there is. I think there is. So, what was your favorite thing about writing Fat Chance Charlie Vega?
So much like Charlie, I am just totally obsessed with like rom-coms, love, romance. Like I love movies and books. Like I give me all the media that that shows love. I just think it's amazing, and especially first loves, like those butterflies in your stomach when you're like, I have a crush on this person, and do they like me? And what is? Oh, we had this fun interaction. What does it mean? And like thinking about all of that. So for me, that was one of my favorite things to just write about, was just thinking about all those feelings and writing all those cute scenes between her and Brian, her love interest, especially in the beginning when they're just kind of like figuring each other out and having these little conversations. Because I know, like for me, when I was a teenager, I always loved thinking about, if I had a crush on somebody and then I felt like they looked at me a little extra long or they said something nice. It's like, oh, well, what does that mean? So that was really fun. And then also writing about like the fashion piece of it. So fashion ends up playing kind of a big role in the book. And it's not really mentioned on like the book jacket or anything, but it's like this underlying theme sort of for Charlie, as she is super fashionable and she's also trying to figure out like, what do I want to wear that works for me, and like what does my style look like, and what do I want to show off and whatever. And so that was fun, just because I'm fat as well, and I feel like part of figuring out your style when you're fat is like determining if is this actually something I enjoy wearing, or is this something that I can afford and that fits me and that I just have, like that's available. So I thought that that was really fun, and just thinking about that and thinking about shopping and figuring out, well, what would Charlie wear and what do young people wear now? So that was a nice piece of it too.
I love that. I thought that was such an interesting part of the book.
Thank you. Yeah, that was really what I like. The heart of what I was trying to get to is it is something extra you have to think about when you fit into plus sizes, right? There is an added layer to shopping. Does this store, first of all, carry sizes that will fit me? Then secondly, of those sizes that will fit me, like what do the styles look like? Because like you said, sometimes you see something that's in a, so-called straight size, and
Mhm.
you're like, oh my God, that's so cute. And I want that. And let me go over to the plus size section and see if they have it in my size. And they don't. And there's like, you go to the plus size section and there might be something, I don't know, sometimes they have like matronly or like older looking
Oh
styles
yeah.
or for
Mhm.
people who are plus size or fatter. And it's like, well, I'm fat, but I still want to dress cute. Like, so, so why,
Yeah, like I
why
want to
are,
look my age, please.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough out here. So, what were some of the themes that were important for you to explore in the book?
So I really obviously wanted the book to be fat positive and to really embrace the word fat. So everybody is different and we all have different bodies and whatever. But for me, I have come to sort of use the word fat to describe myself as a way to like destigmatize that word. So like I grew up with that word as thinking of it as an insult, like thinking it's bad to be fat. And if you got called fat, then that was something that was supposed to hurt your feelings. And so sort of as I got older, I realized that I was like giving so much power to this word, that like this 3-letter word that was really just like a description of my body. And like I questioned, why did I think that was such an offensive word? And when I didn't think the same thing for like thin or skinny, like why was I letting that become something that had so much power? So I kind of wanted to like take that power back for myself. So that's why I call myself fat. And I think there's just something really empowering in that for me. But I know that some people, prefer words plus size or curvy or whatever else. And I'm all for whatever descriptor you want to use. Like, let's do that. But I wanted to really showcase what it's like to be fat, and in like through Charlie, and show her as somebody who lives like this full life, and she learns to love herself and be happy, and she doesn't have to lose weight. And so that's not like a theme in the book. Like, she's not trying to get smaller. She's honestly just trying to love herself and to find love and to figure out like her family stuff and her friends stuff. And like showing a fat character who is at the heart of a book be like a fully formed person, and who has all of these experiences that are not always tied up into your body. Like, I'm fat and I still have crushes, I'm fat and I do this. Like, that was that was really important to me. So that was obviously like a central theme. But then also Charlie's Puerto Rican identity is a big part of the book as well. So she has a white mom and a Puerto Rican dad, and she's kind of sometimes feels like she isn't enough of either one of those things, and sort of struggles with that internally, where she worries that she's not Puerto Rican enough for her actual Puerto Rican family and friends, and then she worries that she's not white enough for her her schoolmates, and that causes some back and forth. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, just this idea of feeling kind of othered no matter which community you're in. And so I wanted to get to like share this message of like, there is no one right way to be a Puerto Rican person or a white person or a fat person or any of those things. Like, there's just your way, and that's great, and that's okay. So those were really, I feel like, the two biggest themes I really wanted to explore. But then I also wanted to have like positive female friendships. So like Charlie and Amelia, they are a really central relationship. And I just think like your friends are just amazing, right? Like, let's give them all the love, and we need to like appreciate friendships more. Just in general, like as a society, I think we like really put a lot of pressure on falling in love, which can be great, but also friends are there for you constantly, and they really matter. And so I really wanted to showcase like you can have all of these relationships, and they're all very important, and they help make you like a fully formed person.
Absolutely. Yes, I love that. Those are the things that I most look forward to in YA, especially Amelia and Charlie are just so I love them. I love them so much. They're really like friendship goals, and we need more of that.
I really feel like they're friendship goals. That is like the biggest compliment. So thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for writing them. They're amazing. I love them. So this next section is the fill in the bookish blanks. So the first book I ever loved was
Corduroy. Have you ever read this book?
No.
So it is a children's book. It's a kid's book. So it's really cute. It's about a teddy bear. He lives in a department store, and he's got like these cute little green overalls. And there's this button that is missing on his overalls, right? So this sweet little girl named Lisa, she comes to the store with her mom. She like falls in love with him and wants to take him home. And her mom's like, we spent a lot of money today. Like, we're not going to get this teddy bear. So then they leave, and then Corduroy is like, oh my God, I have to find my button, because that is why they didn't take me home with them. So he goes on this like sweet little adventure in the department store. He never ends up finding his button. And then, spoiler alert, they come back the next day though and buy him. and he gets to go home with this little girl, and they just become like the best of friends. And I just remember reading that book and, like, first of all, loving the teddy bear Corduroy so much. Like, I loved stuffed animals as a kid, so this was like, oh my god, this is so cool. But also, this I was so fascinated by the fact that Lisa and her mom were, I think, the first brown people I had ever seen in a picture book before.
I love that. That sounds so cute.
Yeah. And
So
but it's
cute.
like it shows how early books can like have a real impact on you. Like when you see yourself, it's just everything, you know?
Truly, yeah. The first book I bought with my own money was.
So there was this series called Making Waves by Catherine Applegate. This was like a million years ago now. And it was a young adult series. And my grandma would take me to this store called Borders all the time, which was kind of like a Barnes and Noble, like big box bookstore. And this was the first series that I bought with like my birthday money. I'm pretty sure. Like she took me one day and I remember buying this, and it was a bunch of books about like teenagers who lived at a beach house together for the summer. And it just had all of this like drama, so much drama and excitement and like kissing and crushes. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And it felt too scandalous to have my grandma buy for me. And so I was like, I'm going to buy it with my birthday money. And really, nothing happens beyond like kissing. But like when you're 13 or something, or 14 or however old I was, it was like, ooh, I'm being bad by getting this. It was great though.
My first book idea was.
Okay, this is really embarrassing, but I'm just going to tell you. So, when I was in middle school, I was obsessed with boy bands. So, I was in middle school in like the 2000s. And so, this was like NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, like peak boy. The first idea I ever had for a book, which I actually wrote, was a boy band fan fiction. Where the main character, her name was Jess, and yes, of course, I still remember it. She was cousins with one of the band members, and for some reason, she like suddenly had to move in with him. I don't even think I ever gave a reason why, because that's how bad it was. And then so she's living with her boy band cousin, and then he's living with another one of the boy band members. And obviously Jess and him fall in love, and like it's a whole thing of like he has a girlfriend and she has to like convince him that she's the one to be with. And it was so dramatic and so bad, and but I like remember it very fondly.
That is amazing. I love that. I love that. That's so fun. That's so fun. I remember reading fanfics like that about like the Jonas Brothers or something. So that was always,
Yes, totally.
yeah, yeah, fanfics are where it's at, honestly.
I
It's
say
liberating.
justice for fan fiction.
Yeah, justice for fan fiction indeed. The song that reminds me the most of my book is.
So there is this song by Lion Babe called Got Body. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but I highly recommend it. It's basically just a song about being big and brown and beautiful. And it's like the lyrics are something like I've got body no matter what I wear, and I've got body something something everywhere. Like it's just like it's like I just am who I am, and I'm beautiful, and I'm going to embrace it, and you should embrace it too.
I love that. Crystal, what is something you'd like readers to take away from Fat Chance Charlie Vega?
So I feel like my biggest goal with this book is to help fat brown girls feel like they're seen, and just in general to help people feel like they're good enough as they are. So they're so often in just like on social media and just like in the things that we consume, there's always like, here are some ways or tips for how to get better, right? So like we see this a lot with New Year's resolutions. It's like, here's 10 resolutions you should make for the upcoming year, and it's all about like changing yourself and trying to strive to be better. And I don't necessarily like I also try to strive to be better in many ways, but I also think there's like a lot of pressure in that. And I hope that when people read this book, they start to sort of like make room for themselves and be kinder to themselves, and they don't feel like they need to change anything. Like you don't have to be perfect in order to start loving yourself, and as the sooner you start like working on being nice to yourself and practicing self-care, like real self-care, and just doing things that are good for you, then I think it feeds into you being an overall like happier person. And then doing some of those goals that you're reaching for become a little bit easier because you're not so focused on like what's wrong with you. You're focused on like, wow, you know what? I am pretty amazing and I'm going to give myself some kudos.
I love that. That's amazing. Yes, I love that. And especially considering the year that has just ended, I think
Yes.
it's super important to not hate yourself and to not
Yeah.
to understand that you need a break. Like it's okay to take a break. And if you gain weight, if you lose weight, that's fine. It shouldn't be a measure of your self-worth and how much people should love
Mhm.
you because of it.
Well, I feel like that's exactly it. Like, it's not about whether you lose weight or you gain weight or you're fat or you're thin or whatever. It's like, to me, it's more about not tying our weight to our worth, right? So just because you lose weight doesn't mean you're doing great and oh, you're going to be so much happier and suddenly you'll just love yourself. Like, and gaining weight doesn't mean you're suddenly going to hate yourself or whatever. Like,
Exactly.
there, we can do these things like find ways we love to move our bodies without the goal of losing weight. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wish we could just separate the two where it's like, I want to, I don't know, go for a walk, go for a run, I want to lift weights or whatever, but not have it necessarily be tied to getting smaller. Just,
Yeah.
it's a thing that makes me feel good. I feel good when I do it. So I want to do it.
Let's talk about your upcoming projects.
So I am going into edit soon for my second book with Holiday House. So I'm really excited. So this is a separate book from Charlie's universe, but it will also be about a fat Latina. So she's actually somebody who is obsessed with Instagram and just looking at pictures of other people. And when she has a bad day, she decides, I'm just going to steal someone's pictures who I think is more beautiful than I am, and I'm going to see what happens. And so she makes this account as someone else. And obviously, that does not go very well. So it's really, it's like it explores some of the same themes as Fat Chance Charlie Vega, but from a different lens. Like, it goes into all of these like pressures we all feel when we're on social media and we see everybody and they look so perfect, and how does that affect like our minds, and like how do we deal with that? So I'm pretty excited about that one. um and that's supposed to come out tentatively fall 2022, so fingers crossed. And then, I'm hoping to have more books after that. I want to have like a series of books that just feature fat girls and living their life. And some of them, their fatness might, impact them a lot. And for some of them, it's not even going to be a thing. They're just going to be fat and they're just going to be joyful and they're just going to live their life. So I hope. Keep your fingers crossed for me.
Cannot wait. I cannot wait to read all of those stories that you have in you. Fat Chance Charlie Vega was beautiful, and I hope more people find it and read it and love it as much as I did. I hope Netflix buys it so that we can have a series or a movie. That would be amazing. Yeah, I'm so
Yay.
excited. I will read anything and everything that you ever write, be it
Oh, you're so
tweets,
sweet.
articles, books, everything. I'm there.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
Of course, that was it was such a beautiful book, and I think a lot of people will see themselves in it. So thank you so much, Crystal, for doing this with me. I had a great time talking to you about Fat Chance Charlie Vega. And people at home, don't forget to pre-order it and buy it once it's out. It comes out on February 2nd. And yeah, we will see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.